Paint or Paint Hare is the first segment of the 13th episode of the first season of New Looney Tunes, and I enjoyed, I'd say, the first 2/3 of this, and then the final third, I just didn't really care for the direction it went. I just didn't find it to be that interesting, not necessarily boring, but I found that after the first 2/3, it definitely wasn't as fun or creative or unpredictable. Jack is painting in the park. I like that we get to see some of the painting. It obviously has a slightly different animation style to the main animation, which I thought was a nice touch. It worked really well. And then some paint goes in the river, which is not great, and Bugs Bunny gets dyed purple. So Bugs approaches him, and then we have a bit of a kerfuffle between the two of them as Jack ends up painting on Bugs, and then Bugs wants to try and get his own back in very clever ways, and I'll say no more about it. I don't want to give away too much. Obviously, the whole thing is less than 10 minutes, and as I said, the first 2/3 were actually really decent, very creative, beautifully animated, and Jack was actually quite likable as well. For the first, 20 seconds or so, I was thinking, I don't really like this character, I'm not really interested in them. But once he actually started to interact with Bugs, or I guess once Bugs started to interact with him, I found that actually he was quite interesting. And the painting aspect, I really enjoyed that. As I said, it was nice to see a touch of the painting, and everything was really well animated. We had a lot of bright colours in this. The animation is really great. I just feel like the direction it took in the final third was just really boring. Not bad as such, just also not very interesting either. So depending on what you look for, you might prefer the final third more than I did. And if you do, that's brilliant. Personally, didn't really love it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that I did actually really enjoy the first 2/3-ish. I didn't time it, but it was roughly about 2/3 of the way in, and I just didn't care for it after that. But nevertheless, I enjoyed what I liked, and it was very well animated, and we had some great comedy as well. There are some great lines from Bugs. So well written, well animated, just maybe not the most interesting narrative in the final third. That being said, I'd say I liked it. And if you haven't seen it and you're a fan of Bugs or Looney Tunes in general, then Paint or Paint Here is probably worth checking out.